Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to Wrestle Rock with Rick Connor.
What the F was that entire freaking promo about?
Mark Callbacher.
She's like the James Ellsworth of women.
And Cory Castle.
I look like Paul London and Brian Kendrick mixed.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Wrestle Rock. I'm Rick Connor.
Mark Callbacher.
Cory Castle.
Cory Castle's here as well. Yay. What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Cory, I just saw you. So you have a pro wrestling tee store now?
Yeah, I was going to save that for the plugs at the end. But
Yeah, man. Why don't we start that off the beginning when people are actually listening instead of the tail off? Anybody knows podcasts, a lot of times people drop off like midway through.
Yeah, so prowrestlingtees.com/Cory Castle will get you a Castlemania t-shirt or a Evolving with Cory Castle t-shirt. Both also available on the Wrestle Rock Teespring store.
You stole it, you bastard.
Man,
I stole it.
you always put Wrestle Rock on the pro wrestling tees also.
Yeah. Well, at this point, you're only like before you get like sales and stuff, you're only limited to 4 t-shirt designs.
Yeah.
And I think that they include, this is the stupidest part, they include having shirt color options as designs.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know for sure if I'm able to do more than 2 shirts with 2 different color options. And then also I want to put the TNE shirt on there as well. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not.
I was going to say, what are your color options? Black and tie-dye? Is that what you're going to do for your shirts? Or
Right. I don't know if they make tie-dye shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. They should.
They absolutely should. Why not?
Right.
By the way, you can actually get now on Pro Wrestling Tees, you can get your little COVID masks.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen them, they have Macho Man Randy Savage ones that are hysterical. One's basically just his face from here down. And,
I'm totally cool with wearing my bandanas like I'm in the Old West. I like that.
Because I don't know why, but I think Punk. I think I follow him on Instagram, and I think he posted one with the Chicago flag, and then I looked it up, and now Pro Wrestling Tees is selling COVID masks. So you want to celebrate your nerddom in this weird time.
I like my nerdom is that like I'm a Wild West cowboy. I like that. Like to raise rope bunko.
I do have some old like WWE, whatever, WWF bandanas, like a Hulk Hogan
You get the
bandana.
Road Warriors one.
Yeah. Maybe I should start wearing that. Just be like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm a nerd. I'm that much of a nerd that I'm bringing it into my safety.
Whatever, man. I walk around the city and everybody's got like cool like designs on their masks. I'm walking around with one of those like paper nurse ones. Where do they get all this stuff? And you go on the websites, everything's sold out. And then I saw Pro Wrestling Tees, so I was like, I was gonna get Punks, but I don't want to walk around in Philly with the Chicago flag. I think that's kind of
It's weird.
Paper nurse vibes.
kind of silly. But if I finally, you can get it, you can watch it. I don't know if I mentioned on Sunday. If you guys, I know Rick, you're not really a long fan. His Starcast from last year is actually, you can get it. I guess someone like uploaded it to YouTube, and there's a great story with him and Tony Atlas, and then a great story with Harley Race. If you want to listen to those, it's actually worth. I'm obsessed with Harley Race stories because that guy was a maniac.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's a total tough guy. Any of those stories you hear of his are like, wow, he was like they don't make him like that anymore.
Like
At
Jay
all.
Martone stories of like people sitting in the backseat handing him beers while he drives with a handgun on the dashboard, sliding up and down the dashboard as he's driving, and anybody. Ric Flair's the best at it, but if you ever hear anybody when they talk like Harley, it's hysterical. Like he was one of a kind, man. So that weird, he would only say 4 or 5 words, but you're like, oh, he was just such a tough dude. What is going on in wrestling this?
There's not too much going on in the news.
Well, Raw's got an audience again. They just have like NXT roster and like extras and stuff in the crowd.
I liked it and then I hated it at the same time because I think they were a little too overzealous in certain areas instead of being more genuine and just yelling out while the wrestlers were wrestling.
Yeah, it was a lot of just cheering and then booing and then over booing. You know, it was they did the same thing with.
You think they had like a little like applause and boo lights like on the can't see, and they're like Vince has to even direct them when they cheer.
Listen,
well, I think they have like the lineup printed up in the back before they walk out to where they're standing. That says boo these guys, cheer these guys. Like that might be the case.
It did help a lot, though. It did change. There was like energy in the actual matches. It was kind of nice. Like I said, it was a little overdone, but just hearing some kind of participation during the matches,
it was missed.
Yeah. Where it was overdone, I really thought was mainly when they were doing interviews and they were like yelling, like cheering during the interviews and all. I thought it was like kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
All right. I saw our friend Karen Q during Charlotte Flair's entrance when she went, woo!
Yeah, like stuff like that, like they were doing the woo and it just sounded fake.
Yeah, it's like you're really trying to overdo it or over woo it, if you will.
Oh, it's just a difference between like other companies in WWE. WWE is just overproduced, you know.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out and they'll mellow out and then it'll fit. But I like it. I don't mind the plexiglass around the ring now.
Yeah, it kind of like reminds me of like remember the Philadelphia Bulldogs, the roller hockey that they had. No. Well, no, I was going to say they had a building. They had a building in Northeast Philly that I saw. They had the Philadelphia Bulldogs played their practice games there, and I saw some ECW shows in that building, the Woodhaven Sports Center.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a ice hockey rink there.
Right. Well, it was. I think it was. I think it was roller hockey.
Yeah. My buddy used to play in that league. One of mine and Rick's buddies. Lovey used to play in that league. Jake used to play indoor soccer there.
I mean, I don't mind it. I think it'd be cooler. I think they should reinforce it and then start whipping people into the plexiglass.
I agree. It's only like a matter of time before somebody gets checked into the boards.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like to me. And I think it was the Daniel Bryan match on Fridays when one of them hit the actual plexiglass. Or with what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? The Irishman.
Sheamus?
Yeah, Sheamus, that match. But yeah, I mean, besides that, Raw, we got a new U.S. champion, which I don't know. I thought was really shoehorned. I feel bad because I really like Apollo Crews, but
yeah,
I guess
I don't know what the hell. What's that?
I think they should have got some wins under his belt before they gave the belt to him. Like the guy had won one match. It's almost like Jinder Mahal-esque from last year.
Yeah, a lot of the title wins were just so forced sometimes.
And then that's why like they don't get overs because people are like don't understand. There's no momentum when they win the belts, you know. But I like Apollo. Hopefully something goes on, you know, like they do something with that. I don't know where they go from here. I think he should join MVP's crew at MVP's building. I think that would be I think that would be dope if he turns heel with the belt. Him with Bobby Lashley and MVP. I think that would be really cool.
That could be pretty hot, especially with Lashley going for McIntyre's belt. We could have that dual championship team or faction. That'd be cool.
The new Nation of Domination.
Of course. Anytime black people get together.
No, but I mean,
the new Nation of Domination.
It's cool. I was kidding a little bit, but at the same time, it's cool because like, having MVP back and like he kind of had a thing like this in TNA where he was like kind of a manager kind of running a faction, and then like it reinforced by the fact that they just, after Shad Gaspard just passed away, everybody like shared a video, and the one video that was shared was him and MVP watching Kofi's win of the championship of WrestleMania, and they were crying and stuff. And it's like, it would be this time being at the time that it is, the racial unrest that's going on. It would be a good way to get heel heat, or it would be a good way to get social education. You know what I mean? Out there in this world where no one's even watching right now.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, what's going on now?
Pay attention.
From what I've been watching is Wednesday night is only like a few thousand away from doing more ratings than Raw. So Wednesday night is definitely turning into the night to watch wrestling, and then Monday Night Raw and SmackDown are like falling to the wayside. But I would like it just as a faction, because like right now, like I would like to see Apollo Crews serious. Like when they showed him a couple of weeks ago, like being serious and feuding with
like crying and stuff.
And with Andrade, I liked that he was serious, and then I liked the whole thing that MVP keeps poking the bear with Lashley, and they're bringing out this more serious Bobby Lashley, and I like it because he should be serious. He's a monster. Like he looks like Vince McMahon chiseled him out of freaking clay and then put him in the ring. Like there's nobody as a body type like Lashley that fits the Vince McMahon mold more. Maybe Drew. The two of them are probably Vince McMahon's two most perfect-looking wrestlers. And Lashley can wrestle. He's really good.
Like, so Vince McMahon would see Bobby Lashley coming out of a shower, and we might have the audio of that.
We have a brand new gimmick for you guys, okay? You guys are going to be the shower buddies. You're going to be a team. No, it would just be the two of them in the shower together. That's how they do the Goldberg
shower of power,
like pounding on the shower door. They both come out, steam just comes out.
I just see poor Matt Flowers losing it one day. Like if they do like a Falls Count Anywhere match, and then somehow Drew and Lashley fight into the showers, and him just losing his mind in his house. In front of his phone, just in front of his phone, watching the pay-per-view like he does. Yeah! And you show Vince McMahon like peeking around the corners or fighting. Like I said, I like Apollo as having the belt. I just don't. I don't know where they're going with it, and I hope they do something with it. There's been a lot of rumors that Heyman's been having a lot of problems because he's trying to get Cedric Alexander and Ricochet boosted up too with Andrade and all these guys. And for some reason, Vince McMahon's shooting it down over and over and over again. I don't know what that's about. So now I think Apollo's the next fall guy. So hopefully this works out or he'll disappear. And I don't want to see that. I don't want to see three talented guys disappear in a matter of 6 months.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. The Apollo Crews thing is definitely a Paul Heyman thing. From what I'm hearing, he's been pushing the crap out of him. Ricochet, for some reason, Vince just has one of those anti-boners for him. He's just like, no, absolutely not. Nothing for that guy.
Real boner killer.
Every time you walk in the office, son, my boner just goes inside. I get an anti-boner.
Softening. The softening.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Softening.
Now what?
Oh, Jesus, man. So, speaking of Monday Night Raw, which we just were, it looks like Samoa Joe is completely replacing Jerry the King Lawler. Like almost, I don't know if it's permanent or if it's just for...
I think it's permanent. Lawler said that basically considered insensitive thing about
Tozawa.
I was trying to remember who it was, and
he said something about the it was something about like Chinese food or something, right? Well, he said something.
Whatever it was, like,
he did like a roll or something, and he was like, "Oh, it's an egg roll" or something stupid,
stupid like that, really childish,
real stupid,
and it wasn't funny. And you know what? Like, maybe it's time for Jerry to move on. You know, like,
Yeah, he's expired.
he's never been the same since JR left. If you ever listen to him when he's in the in the booth with the other guys, he sounds jaded and
Dude,
like,
he should go join JR and Tony Schiavone.
I think he would kill it. I think if he went to AEW, I mean, I don't know if AEW is going to take him on now that he's going to have like pretty much a label for saying insensitive stuff.
But like,
I would take Jerry Lawler's, if not as a commentator, just a road agent, like a backstage guy. The amount of knowledge that Lawler has, the guy's a genius. I was never a big fan of him, but the guy's an absolute genius. I mean, there's rumors that he has more belts than Ric Flair, and they just don't even acknowledge the fact that he's won more championships than Ric Flair ever has. Like,
I recently got on a kick. I don't know how recent it was, within the last month or two. Got on a kick where I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch a whole bunch of Jerry Lawler and Bret Hart stuff because it's such like easy heat, you know.
Oh,
it was such a
when he was putting his feet in all the dirt and all that. Yeah. And
so I just got in a kick where I was like, I'm just gonna see where this goes. And the promos were so perfect. Like it was exactly 90s heat. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. It's all it was. Lawler's behind the times. He doesn't understand that what he can and cannot say certain things. And I mean, you guys interviewed him. He seems like a really genuinely nice guy. He's just out of touch, man. He got himself in trouble. So,
yeah. Right.
I like Samoa Joe better. I think Samoa Joe is more in touch with what's going on in wrestling now. And he's really good at saving, like when these guys say something stupid. I don't know if you noticed, he kind of saves certain comments when they just don't make sense in the match. And I kind of like when he does. Like one of the wrestlers will say something and he explains it better, like to make it sound like more grounded.
So are they really building the Randy Orton Edge thing as the greatest wrestling match ever? Mm-hmm. Can they say that?
That's what I completely forgot I wanted to talk to you guys about. With everything that's going on with WWE and how it's been falling apart and fans aren't watching it, do you guys remember in WCW when it was falling apart, Tony Schiavone had to tell you every week that was the greatest match ever, and this is going to be the greatest ever, and this is going to be the great. I don't like definites like that. I don't want you telling me it's going to be the greatest match ever. Because if this match falls short of Okada Omega, like what do you? Then what? What do you build as? Like, you know, if you say they're going to wrestle and then they do have the greatest match, like this great match, you can try to build as that afterwards. But you can't put that much pressure on two wrestlers.
Yeah. Like, how do you book that? It's like, okay, guys, I want you to go out and have the greatest match ever. Okay, great. No. Literally the greatest match ever. Like, you know, let's talk about Steamboat and Savage. We don't even want to come close to those guys. We want to so far, you know, just start listing all these wrestlers.
You know, Brett, Austin, WrestleMania 13, I want it better than that. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's
remember when the Hart Foundation fought Steve Austin and the Road Warriors in Canada and the crowd? Like, I want it better than that match. It's like, oh, I can't do that.
Like, you can't advertise something is going to be the greatest thing ever when we don't know. What if Orton breaks his neck in the first 2 minutes? You know,
I just remember that as being a very big problem I had with WCW near the end was every time Schiavone was on there, he was talking about how the next match was every pay-per-view. This is the greatest match ever. And then it would suck. And then they would build the next match is going to be the greatest match ever. And then it would, you know, it'd be mediocre. I don't like definites like that.
No.
I don't even think Okada Omega was the greatest match ever. It's a great Japanese match. Yeah, it's a Japanese style match, but I thought there was too many rainmakers and beats.
Can we rename this podcast to the greatest wrestling podcast ever?
Yes. I want a face of someone rolling their eyes underneath it.
We have something going on in AEW right now. After the Stadium Stampede, we got possibly Mike Tyson versus Chris Jericho coming up in the future. What is going on with that?
Did you guys also laugh at how he was like, and he couldn't rip his shirt?
Yes.
He was pulling on that shirt so hard.
So this is, I haven't done it. I either catch it late or whatever, but this was the first Wednesday I sat down because I didn't get to see Stadium Stampede match. I heard great things about it. So I
just saw the meme. I didn't even watch it. I just saw the GIF of that.
I wanted to see the fallout, so I actually watched AEW. It's a solid show. It's a solid show. I think Riddle and Thatcher had an insane match on NXT that pretty much beat anything AEW did all that night. But, dude, Jericho, they have to get on their hands and knees and thank that guy for everything he does because Mike Tyson was such a clown. And I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan, but he couldn't rip the shirt. And then he's turning around, he's doing this in Jericho's face, and Jericho's like, yeah, you look good, whatever. Like, he just, blew it off, and he kept trying to, go on with the program. And then Tyson's screaming, you stole the belt. And I'm like, where did this – from 10 years ago? I don't even – when he punched Jericho out, I was like, I don't know what the heck he's talking about. And then he's got three MMA guys there, and then this dude with a beer gut, and he's got black face paint on. He looks like he's drunk. And then he tries to steal the scene from Mike Tyson as it's going on.
Do you think Mike Tyson learned to not have nothing but tons of money in his pockets? like from that Austin exchange back in '98 when Austin pushed him and all the money came out of his pockets and the entourage just went scattered to pick up all the money.
I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody's pretty much reminded this is Austin and Tyson again, or this is the lead up to WrestleMania 14. I think this is.
Well, Jericho had his thing with Tyson, like I said, 10 years ago, and Tyson knocked him out. And Jericho's just being smart, and they have a history together, and he's tying it into what he's doing now. Whether it was in WWE, he doesn't care. He's Chris Jericho. He sees himself as a brand that everybody knows from everywhere. If it was from New Japan, I bet money he would have brought a storyline from New Japan. But my problem is Mike Tyson's entourage was a bunch and I'm a fan of a couple of those guys. I mean, Rashad Evans was standing behind him and nobody even recognized him. Mm-hmm. And then you have Vitor Belfort's in there. It's these guys are this is really cool seeing all these dudes there. And then there's this beer-gutted, drunk dude taking his white tank top off, and he's got black face paint that he barely put on his face. Is smeared everywhere. And then he's throwing punches at people, and he's making it all about himself, and it's supposed to be the whole Mike Tyson thing. Sure. And then there's a great scene where they're all trying to hold Jericho back, and Cabana's trying to hold him back, and he shoves Cabana. He just tells him, "Shut up, Cabana!" He just yells it, and now that's a match this week coming up. It's Jericho versus. And I'm like, oh, cool. I actually want to see that match. I've never seen Colt Cabana and Jericho, so I'm actually kind of excited to see this match.
It's going to be a goofy match.
It will be, but they're both great with it. They're both good comedy wrestlers when they want to be comedy wrestlers.
How about FTR showing up, finally making their debut? The former
the Revolt.
I thought I was happy.
Are they just called FTR now? It's
they're called the Revolt now.
Are they? Okay.
They were on Jericho's podcast. They listened to it when they were on before they when they got released, before they came to AEW. Just when they did the podcast, and I was like, you know what, this is going to be a really good move for them, and I can't wait to see them show up wherever they wind up. And good for them. It's great for them, really.
I thought the way they were introduced was kind of corny, but I'm happy they're there. And they were smart to tease them just staring at the Young Bucks right off the bat, because that's all anybody wants to see is them in the Young Bucks. Yeah. Hopefully they don't give it to you right away. Hopefully they have to let these guys wrestle and build up to it.
They pro wrestling tease you for a while. Before they did did they do some Battle Royal or something on SmackDown?
Yeah.
What was that for? I had it muted, so I didn't see whatever that backstage meeting was, but I saw Gulak was in that, and I thought he got released.
Now they hired Gulak back.
Gulak offered more money and got it. That's
That was awesome. Good for him.
Good for him.
He deserves
Which
that.
is great for him.
Did Kurt Angle do the same thing? Because Kurt Angle's back now too.
I think they just brought him back.
They're
I don't,
like, wow, this is a mistake. It's Kurt Angle. Who the hell? Well, how did that?
And his son is now an agent. His son is now an agent on SmackDown.
Jordan Devlin, all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
Jason Jordan.
Where is it? I forgot
Jordan
he's
Devlin.
been on so damn long.
Jordan Devlin's stuck in Ireland.
Whatever, one of them. It's a whole bunch of people that are like that. Whatever, Jason Jordan. Yeah, man. Where's he been?
He has a neck injury. He can't wrestle anymore, so he's a road. He's an agent.
He's not on the road.
Well, not on the road.
Nobody is.
But
he's a producer. Yeah, it's great. That's great for him.
So
see, nepotism isn't dead in wrestling.
So it looks like the storyline is Sheamus. I don't know if he beat up Jeff Hardy and put him behind the wheel after crashing into Elias, and then poured alcohol over him, and that's what the storyline is going to be. Is that Jeff Hardy's still like a drunk and all this stuff. So then Sheamus was out, and he was supposed to wrestle. He was supposed to wrestle Daniel Bryan, right? And Jeff Hardy was supposed to wrestle AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So AJ Styles did the heel thing and took a bye. He's like, oh, well, if I don't have to wrestle, I should just be allowed in the championship match. So they did that, and then they did the Daniel Bryan thing where Daniel Bryan's like, no, I want to wrestle someone to see if I'm worthy to be in there. So they had a big battle royal, and Sheamus won the battle royal. The weird thing was the return of Shorty G, which I hate that name. And
Dude, this match with Cesaro is killer, dude. It's so good.
Because he's so good.
Both of them are great together. Like, they're a good match.
And they do this thing where, like, he's named Shorty G, which is a disgrace.
Yeah.
And, like, two, you got this guy is this hell of a wrestler who you can do so much more with him because he can talk. He's got all the tools. Yeah, he's short. Who cares? I don't know. Do something with him. He should have been in that cruiserweight tournament they just had.
And isn't he only like 5'10" or something like that? Like he's not like a midget, right?
Right. He's not a tiny guy. He's average height.
Yeah.
He's 5'8" or 5'9" or something like that. And Daniel Bryan's like 5'10" or 5'11", and AJ's 5'10". I think Daniel Bryan's like an inch taller than AJ. Like, and they call them all like these short midgets, and it's like, yeah, like what? Like they're all like 200-pound men.
It's like if you're not 6 feet, you might as well be 5 feet because you ain't worth nothing. 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. Each one of these guys, Rudy Rudiger. Yeah, so I don't know. Poor Elias, man. Elias's gimmick is just that he gets injured by other wrestlers backstage. He gets run over by Jeff Hardy, or he gets thrown off a balcony by Baron Corbin. He just can't catch a break.
He's like the bad guy who dies at the end, but he wasn't a bad guy, and it isn't the end.
Yeah,
that's his gimmick.
Well, the thing was his gimmick. He was backed into a hole, being what he does with the music, and it's almost a semi-comedy act too, because he does these long talks and then he loses, and it's a shame because he was over for a minute there, both ways.
I think it was like also that relying on the live audience and the T-shirts and the "We want Elias" and that whole like that. It was tough too because it was like you couldn't tell if he was a babyface or a heel because he would just crap on a town, but then people would still cheer for him.
Yeah. What are you gonna do, man? I don't understand anything. Like I was just listening to, if you haven't listened to it yet, Jericho had Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins on with their real names, Matt and
Brian Myers or something.
But that was really interesting. Just listening to Zack Ryder, like telling the whole story of how he got himself over, and they basically just destroyed him. Like, and it was insane. Like, I don't understand the process in WWE, and I can't pretend to even try to. So, like Elias went with the crowd. Elias was either way. If they made him a hero face, He was out there. The crowd was yelling at him. He got the loudest boo WWE's had in I don't know how long when him and KO trashed, was it Portland or Seattle or wherever it was that one day? Like,
yeah.
And now he's getting hit by cars and, you know.
Balconies and just forgotten about completely.
Instead of letting him wrestle Daniel Bryan and maybe like seeing if he can really put out a decent match with one of the best wrestlers in the world, you know, and, you know, giving him a chance to shine that way until the crowd comes back. They just had him hit by a car, and now Sheamus is the ultimate SmackDown bad guy.
Speaking of people coming to SmackDown, we got Matt Riddle is moving up to the main roster, going to SmackDown against. I guess is he having a match at In Your House, and then after that he's going to SmackDown.
Done. Him and Thatcher had that cage match, which
fight match or whatever it was. Yeah, that was really good. Damn.
If you're into like more MMA style, like stiff, like I don't know if that was Thatcher's real teeth or like a fake stunt when he handed his teeth to Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
but that kind of realism in the blood, and it was just it was really well done. And the only problem is I fear for Thatcher. I think his style's gonna be too boring for WWE. I think he's like a Steve Blackman-esque type character, and
yeah, I don't know, Matt. Maybe like he's got kind of that lack of personality deal to him, but I think that kind of like adds to it a little bit. Like with the way Thatcher works and like his backstage stuff, it looks like he's just a badass. He doesn't want to talk. He just wants to beat you up. It's that type of thing. But
well, they got to book him. I mean, they just got to write for him well. If they do, I think he can work because I don't know much about him, and I was actually excited to see that match, and I think it was the match of the week because it was so different and so violent, and it ended like an MMA match out of nowhere. Boom, sleeper on, Matt Riddle's out, match is over, and it was really cool to see something different.
Yeah, I really like that that whole fight.
Well, I'm sorry. We have to say the best match ever is coming up, so don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't get too ahead of yourself talking about how great that match was, because we're going to see at Backlash the best thing we've ever seen.
I'm sorry. The greatest match of the week. It's not the greatest match ever.
Oh,
it's greatest.
Thanks for clearing that up. Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I really do. I'm a huge fan of Orton and Edge, and I really feel bad for them getting that title slapped on them.
Yeah, that's pretty awful.
It's kind of a big thing to live up to.
No. The whole storyline with Sheamus, where is Braun Strowman coming in on that? With him being on an episode of Cops in the beginning of SmackDown. Why was Braun Strowman there?
Maybe I guess when I don't know, because Sheamus and the Jeff Hardy storylines going to extend. Maybe they're going to set something up for Sheamus versus Strowman. I don't know. I know. Bray Wyatt just had a second kid, so he's going to be not around for a little bit.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah, like I said, I was not happy about the whole car accident thing. I don't like that they're playing with Jeff Hardy's addictions again.
Right. Yeah. It's like everybody knows he's been arrested, and we've seen all his mugshots, and everybody knows he's got a problem with drugs and substances, and we don't need it. We don't need it re-brought back up, because then people are gonna like have a problem believing it's like crying wolf in a way.
Yeah.
Well, WWE has a bad habit of this. They take something that's going on in reality, whether it's horrible or not, and they work it into an angle.
But it's so campy. It's so campy and dumb.
Yeah. What this one is, yeah. But I mean, like, it hits a little too hard sometimes, like with the Drake Maverick thing. Like, we're not sure if this is a work, or if the entire thing was a work, or if they're just making it like, oh, yeah, we hired him back, but we're going to pretend like he's still fired unless he keeps winning. Like, it's like, you let go like 200 people.
Well, my whole thing, too, is you shouldn't make light, like, of drug addiction or alcoholism, or you shouldn't make these guys hurt themselves. You guys do it. Like, you guys do a lot of physical stuff, and this is like a byproduct of it, and then like almost making light of something that basically you're the cause of. Like these guys want to be wrestlers and now addicts, and then you make a storyline is kind of like insulting, man. It's I don't know.
Yeah,
they're doing a Rey Mysterio retirement ceremony on Raw.
Do you think he's going to retire?
I didn't think so. I hoped that he was going to get another heavyweight championship before he was gone.
Yeah, didn't he want to work with his son too? Like, isn't there supposed to be some kind of angle where he's teaming with his kid, or against his kid, or something like that?
Maybe they start the ceremony and he attacks Seth Rollins during the ceremony. I mean, I would love to see Ray and Seth a little more extended, of like a further storyline.
Yeah, I mean, the eye in the stairs was like the coolest thing they've done in a really long time. Yeah. As far as like a physical like you see it happen thing.
Yeah,
there's a cool little like he lost it, almost like Randy Orton when he had that little voices thing. It was very similar to that. I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. They tell me to burn it down.
That's what he's doing, man. He's burning the whole place down, one eyeball at a time. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, I would like to see Mysterio and Rollins if that continues. See where that goes and what happens. I hope it's not the end for him, man. I wanted to see one more title reign, one more big storyline or something like that. He started the rumors that he was done with his contract and he was going to AEW, and I don't know if he is. Like we keep forgetting Ray's like what, 46 now, 47. Yeah.
Like, and the guy's had multiple knee surgeries, like all that. Like, I don't know, man. I think he may just be looking into just retiring and just calling it a day. Maybe give him one more big story, give him one more big push, and then maybe hopefully he finally gets his tag match with his son, and then he can ride off into the sunset.
Right off into the sunset.
In the last, you got to think, in the last 20, 30 years, there's no one who's done more for wrestling than Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
Like 90% of wrestlers are out there. That's him. There's all reflections of him. All the high flying, all the spots. That's Rey Mysterio, man. Like,
yeah. All right. Oh, I think it's about that time.
That guy's into the Hall of Fame. Into the Hall of Fame. As soon as he retires, he should be in the Hall of Fame immediately.
Instantly. If they ever do the Hall of Fame again, we'll see. So it wasn't one this year.
Next year when COVID's over and they're not burning my city down.
So it's time to shine that spotlight, folks. Who we shining it on this week? Let's find out with a segment called Who Wins Wrestling. Who wins wrestling? Blah, 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 blah.
What's the segment? Who has the horsiest voice? While we're
yeah, why not? I don't know. Who wants to go first? Anybody got something?
I'll go first.
Me, I'm gonna have to go for a tie, and it's gonna be Riddle. It's gonna be Riddle and Thatcher. Riddle and Thatcher. A brand new style of match. Thatcher's very new to NXT, and not many people know unless you know the independents and who he is and what he's about. And the match worked. It was very different. There was no ropes, no turnbuckles, no high flying, and they put on a solid, hard hitting match. And I really like that concept. And it can be something new if they use it sparingly. It can be a new style match, especially for maybe attach it to Riddle or Thatcher. Like as a final match when they wrestle certain people.
So, I really enjoyed that match. The concept of the match itself, I thought was great. Yeah, the fight pit, it's like, it looks like a cage match on the surface, but you can only win by tap out or knockout is a great rule. The scaffolding on top leaves, I love that there was a referee up there as well. I thought that was really cool. And it leaves, you can actually work on top of the cell, or on top of the cage rather, which is something new.
They made it where it gives almost open options to guys who are not shoot fighters where if you're like a traditional style wrestler, they gave you an area to work and do high spots and do other things. Like there was that whole heel hook or ankle lock with Matt Riddle hanging off the fence was really cool. And he was upside down. And like I said, I thought it was really well done. I liked the fact they used Kurt Angle as a referee to give it like a little bit more legitimacy. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was the highlight of all week. That and Mike Tyson being a clown was probably my two favorite things all week. Yeah, I definitely have to go with Thatcher and Matt Riddle.
Cory, what do you got, man?
I want to say Bobby Lashley.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What did he do this week?
He was in a tag match with MVP against Street Profits, and then him and Drew McIntyre had a little blow off, and it's definitely like, oh, this is gonna be cool to see. Like it's like a kind of repurposed Bobby Lashley. It'll be neat to see him, against his shower buddy Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, I hope that feud's a little longer because I think those guys can do some really hard-hitting, like, really cool wrestling matches. Both of them are really big guys that can wrestle. They can do anything from high spots to, like, really violent-looking suplexes. And, like, I think that it should be a really cool like series if they let them feud for a while. I just hope it's not they go to the next pay-per-view, Drew McIntyre beats Lashley, and then Lashley's gone. I think this should be – they could extend this into something really cool.
Yeah, especially if they're doing stuff with like a new faction sort of thing.
Yeah, why not?
They should certainly do that.
Yeah.
And let me like not ignore the fact that there were some good matches on SmackDown this week. Like Shorty G and Cesaro was really good, and Daniel Bryan and Cesaro was really good.
It was all really good. Honestly, there was a lot of really good matches on free television. This week I thought that was great.
The girls had a solid match on NXT. They did a really good job of letting Chelsea Green get some kind of spotlight, working with Charlotte in a tag team. There was AEW had a lot of solid wrestling. Like it was a really solid week for wrestling, and it looks like.
Shotzi Blackheart. I don't know how that girl doesn't have a concussion or like some type of serious head injury after she took that springboard off that springboard trust fall where nobody really caught her right, or she overshot it. It was really sick. Like she landed on the back of her head, but she got up and really good. This was in the middle of the who was it? It was Shotzi and Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And she went outside to do like a springboard off the second rope, and she didn't like do a moonsault out of it. She just kind of like went back and did like the Kofi Kingston trust fall thing, but she springboarded, so she overshot it and almost like took it like a German suplex, landed right on the back of her neck. It was gross. It was a mistake and everything like that. They, it wasn't like, oh, they didn't catch her. She just kind of overshot it. But yeah, landed right on the back of her neck, and she got back up, and apparently she's fine. So good for her. Like, just shows how tough she is. It's really good. That wasn't even my pick for who wins wrestling.
So who was your pick?
Throw it in there. My pick is Jake Atlas. That guy had the match with Kushida and Drake Maverick this week on
NXT. He came from Evolve, right? He's an Evolve wrestler, is he not?
I believe so. Yeah. I haven't seen any of his work in Evolve. I've only seen him since he came to maybe he had a different name or something down there. I don't know. But I've only seen him since he came to NXT, and the guy is flawless. He was so – everything about him is just fluent. Like his moves, the way he moves, it just works so perfectly. Like it's flawless. Like he goes to walk the top rope, does like the little handstand thing on the top rope, and it's so fluent that you just – it's perfect. I really think this guy's going to be a star.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to be somebody. That I don't even get into the whole Drake Maverick thing.
Yeah, I mean it's everything's been said already. It's like it's is it a work? Is it not a work? If it is a work, is it WWE being gross about it?
Was Atlas the guy in the three-way with
yes,
the three-way with Kushida and Maverick?
Yeah,
he's wearing LOD 2000 gear back. He's bringing it back. Those are Animals tights from LOD 2000.
Yeah, but it just looks like wrestling finally figuring out the no live shows, and the matches are starting to get a little solid. We lucked out now. Both shows have people outside the ring, so we can get some kind of energy going. It was a better week of wrestling. I mean, Raw with no crowd, I still think is too long. I think it should only be about an hour and a half, 2 hours with no crowd. But
that's just generally. I think 3 hours is too long for any wrestling show, any weekly wrestling show. You know what I mean? Like they did Money in the Bank, and that was like, what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that, and it was over like really quick, and it was fine. It was perfect. Raw every week for 3 hours, even with a crowd, I think is a bad idea. So if they can, I don't know if there's a way to cut an hour out, but if there is, I would love to see it.
I think what they should be doing is and I think we were talking about this before, is like they could do either highlight packages or do like almost like a bio piece on one wrestler, and do that as part of the show. Like, hey, we're only gonna have like 2 hours of wrestling, in the last hour it's like, here's a bio piece on Drew McIntyre, and you do a whole hour on how Drew McIntyre got to the WWE and got to the World Championship, and just kind of give these people like a build up where you can like maybe get people behind certain wrestlers that are not really like shown well enough on the matches to go anywhere, like to like be bigger. And I'd rather watch those anyway. Like I haven't watched the Undertaker ones. I'm waiting until it's completely done, and I'm gonna watch the whole Undertaker piece all the way through because I've been hearing great things about it. I just haven't watched it yet.
I saw the first two of them. But
I think those bio pieces help fans really care about wrestling.
Connectivity, yeah.
And I think that with no crowd, I think doing like a mini bio piece, like do something on Apollo Crews, that would be awesome. Like a bio piece on Apollo Crews or whatever, That's
in lieu of winning, just give him a bio piece.
Yeah, and just show how he started, his World Be Free, and then moved into Apollo Crews in WWE and won the title and the belt, and get people to connect with him because it's a little better than hot-shotting him, and just giving him a belt, and the guy's got to turn around like now he's got to carry, he's got to get like fans around him, and like nobody's been given a reason to cheer for him. So maybe give him a piece, and some people will connect to him, and then they'll actually be backing him up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're about at that time, folks. Cory, give us a plug for your Teespring shop again, or your whatever it is, Wrestling Tee.
Before I do that, I just real quick want to give a cool shout out to a friend of the show, Brady Hicks and VOC Nation. We're available on the VOC Nation, and Evolving with Cory Castle is available on VOC Nation. But now VOC Nation has ads on Bruce Pritchard's podcast, JR's podcast, and Eric Bischoff's podcast. So we might also see our numbers go up.
Well, that would be lovely. Just terrific.
That would be just terrific. You go to prowrestlingtees.com/Cory Castle. That's my Teespring, or my Pro Wrestling Tees shop. And if you're in the mood for a new podcast, and
the greatest wrestling podcast of all time, or new podcast,
the greatest podcast ever, not even wrestling. We're not saying wrestling. Just the greatest podcast ever is our new podcast coming up. Rick, Mark, and myself, we're gonna have a new podcast coming out. That's all a joke. It's all a joke. We're not doing that for real. But check out Evolving with Cory Castle. I have a lot of fun. Recently just did a new episode with Noah. Noah Houlihan, another friend of the show. We gave a little shout out to Rick on that episode. And you just keep an ear out for that. Check it out. And if you like this show, Wrestle Rock, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Participate in our polls. Let us know you exist. Interact with us. We like to hear feedback. We like to hear feedback a lot. And join us on Sunday next week we're doing in your house, the NXT Takeover. It's gonna be a fun time.
Gargano, Keith Lee, baby. I can't wait.
Keith Lee. Gargano and Keith Lee, man. That's going to be absolutely insane. There's so many matches. I think every match on the card, we got Adam Cole and it's a takeover. Yeah.
They're literally almost the most perfect pay-per-views every month.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're short. They what, 2 hours tops. You get everything in, everything's done, and every match is usually easily a 3 to 4 star match. So
yeah,
it's gonna be fun, man.
So definitely, yeah, we're gonna try out a new form of streaming that might be a little bit better for everybody with StreamYard, and we're gonna be here having a good time. So make sure you all tune in for that. That being said, that about do it for this episode of Wrestle Rock. I'm Rick Connor.
Mark Hallbacher.
Cory Castle.
And like always, keep watching wrestling because it's good.